Thank you. Yes, I'm going to talk about work culture and how I believe that is what actually creates the possibility to even be agile. I work as an agile coach and agile coach manager for a few other agile coaches at Spotify. And I'm in the platform mission, where we do all the cool behind-the-scenes stuff to make sure that we have a really fast and secure platform to run all the apps and other applications that we have. We support 3,000 engineers with their tools and the releasing and all of that, which is pretty cool, and basically what I enjoy the most about being there, supporting them. And we support now over 500 million users in the world, which is pretty cool. That's a lot of people. All right, so I'm going to start with talking about a journey that I had to take to find a work culture where I felt I could really act in the potential that I have. And to do that, I'm going to use something called the stress cone. It's in a poster from Dandy People that I co-created called Stress in a Nutshell. So you can find that there after. But basically, we all heard of this, like the fight or flight, where you end up in the bottom of this stress cone, where you basically, fight for your life. Or, and this happened to me, 2017. I got burned out. I couldn't work. I got partly paralyzed. I was here at Agile Sverige 1 year after that, talking about my burnout as an agile coach, basically supporting everyone else except myself. And my journey back to being able to work full-time has taken a few years. And what happens is actually that this stress cone is something that is behavioral things that happen in a workplace that has a huge impact on the capabilities that we have to use our brain power. So it's not only here in the bottom where you're actually, can't work at all, but it has levels. So going up here, suppression techniques, conflicting priorities, being alone with responsibilities creates irrational behaviors, panic attacks, no sleep. That was me. And if we go up here, I was a consultant for a few years, and it has nothing to do with the consulting companies I was at. It has to do with the environments that I was placed in as a consultant, where there was a high workload, financial stress, no feedback on performance, feeling threatened, having anxiety, imposter syndrome, what am I doing? Going up, pressure of time, unclear expectations, navigating politics, policies. And I think, we go up and down this stress cone, and we do that throughout a week, throughout a month, throughout a year. And that's okay in terms of maybe an hour, 10 minutes. But if you find yourself being, on one of these lower levels for a longer period of time, then that's not healthy. That's not creating any healthy behaviors. And it will not give anyone the possibility to actually be agile. So up here on the top is where I am today at Spotify, and where we actually have a work culture that is collaborative. It is actually solving problems, not dealing with politics or other things. And it leads to stuff. It leads to the innovation, the growth of people. A lot of people that start at Spotify will stay at Spotify. And I would say it's because of that. And so what is it then that actually makes Spotify agile? People ask me that. How agile is Spotify? And I say, well, in terms of working, ways of working, processes, things like that, no, they're not very agile. When I came to platform 3 years ago, they didn't even have product managers in all the kind of, infrastructural teams. So no, they're not in that way. But in the way that they are agile is the work culture. And what is work culture? I believe that it is behaviors. And this is kind of building on what Jimmy said earlier as well, that your beliefs, they also create behavior. And at Spotify, we see failure as learning, and data and hypothesis driven. That's how we work. And we value diversity. So what does that create? Well, we have an innovative culture, which is learning culture, cross-functional teams, experimenting, things like that. And because this word in the middle, where we usually say like, oh, what values do you have? What culture do you have? Usually don't mean that much if we don't actually have behaviors that support them. And what is different at Spotify is that we hold each other accountable for those behaviors, which means that we have transparency, trust, reflection, feedback. It's not just words. If someone is not doing something in a good way, is not treating someone in a good way, we say that. We say it, and we change it, and we move on. So that's the biggest difference. We're very sincere, which is visualization, retrospectives, feedbacks. Impact-driven mentorship, regularly review goals, and track progress. This is also something we're not there to just do a job. We're there because we love it. We love the product. We love what we do. It's so fun. But it's also about like, what impact do I have? I can feel it, that I have this impact, and we can show it and help each other. That creates motivated individuals, technical excellency, definitely, and continuous delivery. Open communication, aligned autonomy, and clear responsibilities. Open communication is about everyone can basically read any Slack channel. They're not closed at Spotify, which creates a chaos in itself that you have to kind of manage yourself. But it's really, really cool. Anyone could talk to anyone. Aligned autonomy. Why it doesn't say autonomy there? Because that's no longer what we have at Spotify. We do not have autonomous teams anymore because we're just not capable of that anymore. We need more teams to do something because it's so complex and so big. So we have aligned autonomy now, which is cool in itself, and another speech. So we're very collaborative, which is, of course, the self-organizing teams, roles and responsibilities, customer collaboration. And this one, have fun, prioritize to have fun, and don't take yourself too seriously. The last one, I think, is a quote from Daniel saying that, but it's actually true. There's no prestige, like there's no, and that sits in behaviors. And if we think someone has that a little bit too much, that will probably come up in a retrospective or in a feedback or in a review of their performance. Yeah, but this one is collected to playful. And I struggled a bit, like, okay, what's the agility in this? But we, as agile coaches, I believe, usually say that we should love what we do, right? And I think Jimmy also mentioned that we base performance reviews on behaviors, and that is true. We still do that. And I just did the development talk last week, and they also assess people also assess me in terms of the same behaviors, exactly the same for anyone in the company. And that's also how we hold each other accountable for the behaviors that we have while working. And that's how we uphold the work culture that is Spotify, with today 9,000 people working, instead of, the few ones that started here in Stockholm 15 years ago. All right, so what I really truly believe in is that anyone can change work culture by changing behaviors, changing your own, or making sure that you say something change the behavior of someone else. So what behavior will you change? Thank you.